What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsey Jr. You're tapped in to the 35KY Sports live stream each and every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and follow 35KY Sports on all social media platforms. That is on all social media platforms. We're big on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you can find anything, we're there. Now, oh my God, it's been a big week. When it comes to Louisville football, when it comes to Louisville basketball, when it comes to Louisville sports, it's been a big week, but nothing was bigger this week. Nothing, absolutely nothing was bigger this week than getting the commitment and the reclassification. We already had his commitment, right? And folks kept telling us we was going to lose him to Miami, right? But instead, TJcapers, big-time player, out of Florida, decided to reclassify from the class of 24 and enroll in Louisville right now to the class of 2023. Mwah! Shout out to Coach Jeff Brom. Let's take a look at some of the things that have been said about in this latest move. TJcapers, 4-star, consensus 4-star. He was a 5-star, but everybody bumped him down. But he's a consensus 4-star recruit, linebacker, edge rusher out of the state of Florida. Decides to come to Louisville. We're going to take a look at state of Louisville. Our guys over there, Jacob Lane and those guys over at the state of Louisville, do a great job. And let's take a look at their article. It says 5-star edge, TJcapers reclassifies to join Louisville football in 2023. Louisville football's highest rated commit ever. Listen to that once again. Louisville's highest rated commit ever. Now, depending on what site you use, you know what I'm saying? Some will have Brom and, Brian Brom and Bush above him. But depending on what you use, he is a top 3, top 4, top 5, or the highest rated commit for Louisville ever. So this is the type of player that we're getting. Talking about a guy rated higher than some of the guys that did great work, like Brian Brom, like Michael Bush, like, say what you want, but James Quick. Let's continue reading. It says Louisville's highest rated commit ever will join the Cards this season. It's a massive day for Louisville football staff as its biggest recruit in school history will reportedly reclassify in the class of 2023 and join the Cardinals immediately. TJcapers has a 99.51 rating by 247, will be the highest rated signee in school history, higher than Michael Bush, higher than Brian Brom, higher than Peanut Whitehead, and higher than James Quick. The news was first reported by Jody Demlin. Capers is currently enrolled as a student at Louisville. He has made it to campus. Yeah, this is, when he first did it, but he, as far as I know, he's made it to campus. He's made it official. Everything signed, sealed, delivered. He's ready to play. See, after committing to the Cards on January 7th, Capers had been instrumental in helping assemble a solid 2024 class. However, after completing his high school graduation requirements, the star edge rusher will be bringing his talents to Louisville football for the start of fall camp. Capers is 6'2", 230 pounds from Columbus High School in Miami, Florida. He's considered the second best edge rusher and the third overall defensive player in his class and was one of the best players in the country this year, regardless of class. According to 247, quote, a front seven defender who can do a little bit of everything. Looks college ready as a sophomore with hulking frame that's verified 6'2", 230. Has tested reasonably well for someone his size at a 4'6", 40 and a 4'5" short shuttle. On record, a thumper that likes to run, hit, excels in chase mode on Friday nights. Blah, blah, blah. He is a dog. Let's keep reading. It says impact for Louisville. The impact of Capers' addition cannot be underestimated or understated or underwhelmed. We got to make it a big deal because it is a big deal. We got to make it a big deal because it is a big deal. Let's keep reading. The impact of Capers' addition cannot be understated. Capers is a college-ready prospect that is seen as a lock as a future NFL guy, as a do-it-all front seven player who could stand up at inside linebacker or slide to a hand-in-the-ground edge rusher. Louisville football has been in desperate need of another linebacker to this roster. And Capers is a guy that can step in alongside fellow freshman Stanquan Clark and be one of the most fearsome duos in the ACC. Capers has shown a propensity to get into opposing backfields, but he also has the speed and athleticism to run with tight ends and wide receivers. The addition of Capers solidifies Louisville football defense as one of the 3 most talented in the ACC, and I 100% agree with that. So let's talk about this. They talk about Louisville needing to upgrade the linebacker room. Coming away from spring ball, there were three, if you wanted to call them concerns, there were three concerns for, if you were a fan of Louisville, of what they should do. They needed to upgrade the offensive line, right? They needed to upgrade the offensive line. They needed to upgrade the linebacker room, all right? They need to upgrade. I mean, these are real legit concerns, I guess, if you wanted to call them concerns. And people, if you were nitpicking, you could say, oh, the tight end room, oh, whatever. One thing that Jeff Brom has made evident, and Coach Brom will actually be available for media this week, so we may have to do another live stream. Well, we got a show on Saturday. Don't forget, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on 93.9 The Ville, where we'll talk about what he said in his press conference later this week. But one thing Coach Brom has been adamant about saying, and I've gone on here and I've said it time in and time in and time in and time in and time in. He has said, dogs will eat first. Dogs will play first. Dogs will see the field. He doesn't care about classification. He doesn't care about how long you've been in school. He doesn't care about how much experience you have. If you're a dog, then you're the best player. And you demonstrate that by what you do in practice and what you do when the coaches are watching. And then that should, in theory, and it has for Coach Brom over the duration of his 9-year career as a head coach, that has translated to games. That's why he's been so successful. So I'm saying all of that to say what? The dogs are going to play. And if you're a dog and you just happen to be 18 years old, you just happen to be 19 years old, this just happens to be your first year in college, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He said that from the jump. He used his examples. What am I saying? And he's told that apparently it looks like, it seems, all indication it seems he's told TJcapers the same thing. Like, yo, you can come here and play. You don't have to wait. One of the things coming from U of L each and every single day, every single time we get a report about the team, it's something that Stanquan Clark is doing, who is also a true freshman and was an early enrollee. When Brom first took the job, the first freshman he pointed out was Stanquan Clark. He said, yo, that is the type of player that plays. We don't put that on the bench. We don't, whatever it is, I don't know what exactly we're going to, he's a defensive monster. You don't put him on the bench just because he's a freshman. And I've heard people say, or I've watched tweets or read tweets, the only reason why linebacker was a concern for some people is because we seem very young. The only reason why tight end seems like a concern for some people is because we're super, super young. But if they're not addressing it, then it must be okay. You know what wasn't okay? Remember what I told you, the three things that if people had any type of concern, it was linebacker. Well, KJ Cloyd transferred after the spring game, and he was running with the ones. Why would you do that? Why, if you're penciled in, not written in stone, not written in ink or permanent marker, you were penciled in with the ones, penciled in with the starters, and you're good enough to go to another ACC program. He went to Miami. He didn't go to Appalachian State. He went to Miami so the kid can play. But why would a kid who was penciled in with the ones, with the starters, transfer out? Because there was a dog that was probably going to take his spot, that being Stanquan Clark. And maybe he heard the rumblings of another dog who happens, and these are dogs with 4 years of eligibility, happened to be coming in. Maybe he read the tea leaves. Maybe he heard it through the grapevine. Maybe he got tipped off that, yo, Stanquan is coming, and TJ might be coming too. Shh, don't tell nobody. But TJ might be on his way too. And 3 months later, they keep raving about Stanquan. TJcapers decides to reclassify. People like, yo, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. No, get ahead of yourselves. Get ahead of yourself because the rest of the country is catching up. TJcapers understands how special this year is going to be. He understands how special this is going to be, a special year. Now, maybe I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but you know what? I've been a fan and been following Coach Brom for a very, very long time as a head coach. I wasn't around much when he was a player. Wasn't really around. I was born in 95. Not sure. I think he was done at Louisville by 95 or around that time. But as a coach, I've seen it with my own eyes. I was at WKU when he first became a head coach. And guess what? Word to the wise, he didn't disappoint. Now you can say, oh, it was a different level. It was a different type of game. It was there. At Purdue, he didn't disappoint. So why at Louisville would I think he's going to disappoint now? Especially with the moves that he's making. These are the words. This is a quote from, I'm pretty sure, Jody Demlin's article about TJcapers and his reclassification. Quote, seeing what Jeff Brom is doing with Louisville program, I'm ready to get up there right now. That's what he's saying. I'm ready to get there now. I feel like I'm ready to play in front of the Louisville fans and put on a show because we're going to be really damn good is what he's getting at. I know. I don't want to wait till next year. Next year, we're going to be awesome too. Don't get it twisted. We're going to be awesome too. But I see the opportunity to make things happen right now. People keep saying they're weak at linebacker. People keep saying that's the biggest deficiency on the team. I've heard people, because we had a hell of a pass rush last year, people keep saying there's no way you can have another great season at the pass rush like you did last year. I'm not saying you're going to be number one in the country in sacks again. I mean, that's special. To be number one in the country in sacks is special. But I'm also not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that you can't do it. And the only way that you can do it is by going out and getting big-time players like a TJcapers. Look at the quote. Seeing what Jeff Brom is doing with the Louisville program, I'm ready to get up there. I feel like I'm ready to play in front of the Louisville fans and put on a show because you know what? They're going to put up a show whether I'm there or not. So guess what? I want to be a part of that show. That show being 10 wins. That show being competitive in the ACC, really towards the top of the ACC. That show being a really, really special season in the first season, in the inaugural season of the Jeff Brom Show at L&N Cardinal Stadium this year. So, yeah, I want to be a part of that because that's going to be a sight to see. That's going to be something that's going to be a spectacle. And TJ's making it that much more of a spectacle by going ahead and reclassifying, by joining this year's team, by being a part of something very, very special. So shout out to him, man. Biggest news of the week. Biggest news of the week easily. Easily. Because here's the thing. And the coaches at Louisville, they took notice, right? Because when TJ committed to Louisville, when TJ decided back in January during the Army All-American game, Army All-American game is when TJ decided to make his commitment to Louisville. And here's the thing. A lot of people didn't think that would stick. Brom hadn't been on the job a month. He'd probably been on the job like 2 weeks. It was early January when TJ decided to commit to Louisville. Early January at the on the Army All-American game. And a lot of people was like, man, there's no way that'll last. He's from Miami. Miami's recruiting is on fire. He's from the state of Florida. The state of Florida's recruiting is on fire. He's from the state of Florida. Florida State's recruiting is on fire. They're doing great jobs. All three programs are recruiting as best as they've done in a while, right? But all three programs. But specifically, they were talking about Miami. There's no way the Cardinals can go in and pluck a 5-star, high 4-star, whatever you want to call him, pluck him from Miami's backyard and keep him throughout the duration of this time. There's no way. Call me when he signs is what people were saying. You don't believe me? Here's the receipts. So this was TJ's commitment. Coach Hova back on January 7th said, who's next? 305 to the Ville. Remember, during Pierce's commitment with him, Stanquan, and Madden Sinker, they said the class of 24, at least what they thought, the class of 24 was going to go through Miami, and boom, the big ticket drops with TJ. And a fan talked to me when he signs. Guess what Coach Hova did? He ran it back all the way on June 11th. That tweet was made on January 7th. The man kept the receipt. He kept the receipt. I like my coaches petty. Yeah. I like them to talk that talk because they told you to remind. Look, here goes another one. When Coach Hova, because they were trolling him. Remember, he said the class is going to go through Miami. Flyville is going to go through Miami. Wait till Mario, being Mario Cristobal, does an in-home visit before signing day. # Go Canes. And he put Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer in the history of baseball. So there's like, yeah, Mario Cristobal is going to close the deal. He's going to flip. He's going to go to Miami. I like my coaches, Patty. I like him, Patty. Because guess what Coach Hova did? He showed the real closer. The Brahmin at 11, do you hear me? He showed the real closer. Because not only did Cristobal lose out on the in-city recruit, not an in-state, in-city recruit, one of the best recruits in the state of Florida, one of the best recruits in the city of Miami, a city full of dogs, do you hear me? But not only did he miss out on him for the 24 class, our guy said, man, we going to be so damn good. I want to come right now. This is going to be such a special season. I want to be there right now. And he showed the real closer, Coach Braun. Man, it's okay to get excited. It's okay to get excited. You should be excited. This is something to be excited about. This is not a small deal. This is not small potatoes, because you have all the ingredients to be great. You have all the ingredients to be great. And not only to be great, going to be great with some young players, some guys that you hope, fingers crossed, nothing is guaranteed, but you hope to see and grow and stick around for a few years and get to know. You know what I'm saying? A special thing about the guys that were drafted, all our guys that were drafted were from the defensive side of the ball. Yasir Abdullah, Yaya Diaby, Keitrell Clark. Now, Diaby and Keitrell were transfers. Keitrell came from Liberty, and Yaya came via JUCO. Yasir actually stayed with Louisville for 4 years. But one thing about all three of them is that they were in the Louisville program for multiple years. They were in the Louisville program, and we saw them. They did interviews. We got to know them. We saw them grow and then develop into NFL talents, right? These were guys that weren't ranked that high. Yasir, probably a 3-star. Keitrell went to Liberty out of high school, so he wasn't ranked that high. And then Yaya went to JUCO, so he wasn't ranked that high, right? And they still were put in good positions, specifically this last year, and showcase their talents enough to make things happen. Well, what happens when you replace said guys with 4-star guys or 5-star guys? Now, not only do you develop, if your coaching staff, and that's another thing, your coaching staff has to be up to it. Well, this coaching staff is proven. Satterfield never wasn't proven. I mean, we were happy when he left. Let's be honest. We were happy when he left. As good as that defense was, we're pretty happy. Satterfield's an offensive guy. Could never get an offensive guy drafted for real. Tutu got drafted, but that was based off his sophomore year. His junior year, got hurt and didn't really do much. Dez was drafted, but Dez and Tutu were Bobby's guys. They were recruited by Bobby, not by Satterfield. Nobody recruited by Satterfield was drafted on the offensive side of the ball. Stop me if I'm wrong. I can't think of one. Now, the defensive guys made something happen. Multiple year starters were able to make things happen specifically last year and got drafted. Nobody from offense. But one thing I know about this coach and this coaching staff, I've seen guys get drafted. And not only have I seen them get drafted, I've seen them get drafted pretty damn high. Not only have I seen them get drafted high, because, sometimes in the pros, they can overdraft or reach on guys, right? They can overdraft and reach on guys that really didn't produce a whole lot in college, right? That ain't the case with Brahms kids. They don't typically overdraft or reach on guys out of Purdue. They might overdraft and reach on a guy out of Ohio State. They might overdraft and reach on a guy at LSU, Bama, Georgia, maybe Notre Dame or something. They ain't overdrafting or reaching on a kid from Purdue or Western Kentucky, WKU, go Tops. They ain't doing that. Man, nah. You got to have some pretty damn good production in college to get drafted out of WKU, especially in the top 3 round. You got to have some really great production to get drafted out of Purdue, especially in the first round. And that's what Brahm has done. Forrest Lamp went in the second round out of Western, out of WKU. Taywan Taylor went in the third round, fourth round, somewhere around there. He was on TV out of Western via PRP. Shout out to Louisville. Out of Purdue, Rondale Moore went in the second round after getting hurt out of Purdue. David Bell went in the second round out of Purdue. via Indianapolis. Rondale via Trinity. George Kalafis went in the first freaking round out of Purdue. But those were 4-star kids. David Bell was a 4-star kid. Rondale was a 4-star. If you watch Rondale at Trinity, you know how nasty he was. And Kalafis was a 4-star kid out of Indiana as well. So I got a coach that has a history of being successful on the field. I got a coach when he does, because he didn't get a lot of 4-stars out of Purdue. Purdue's a tough place to recruit. It's in the Big Ten. It's an engineering school, high academic standards. You're never going to be better than Ohio State, Michigan, and probably Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State for sure. And then probably never better than Michigan State or Wisconsin. So you're recruiting against that. Minnesota sneaks up every once in a while. Iowa keeps a solid team. They put a lot of guys in the league. So you're never necessarily going to be better than most of those teams. And I saw my coach put a lot of dudes in the league. And these are just the early round picks. I ain't talking about the guys that got drafted in the 4th, 5th round, because I don't know the history of Purdue's draft picks. I know about the early round guys, but I know there's other guys that got drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds as well. This is what he does. And this is a good sign. This is why you should be excited, because history tells you that this is going to be really good. History tells you this is going to be really good. You don't get a ton. There's not a ton of reclassifications this late in football. I'm not saying it's impossible. There's not a ton of them. This don't happen very often. Now, basketball, you get reclassifications every other week. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. A lot of basketball guys get held back, and then they're able to reclassify. And simply because you can be one and done in basketball, it makes more sense for them to reclassify, especially if you're already 18 or 19 in high school. It makes sense for you to reclassify. You become a one and done and you go to the league. But in football, you don't get a lot of reclassifications because you still have to be in college for 3 years because of the NFL rules. And so you just don't see it very often, especially out of big time players like this. I don't see a lot of reclassifications. You can see a lot of early enrollees. So meaning after your senior year, you skip prom and all that stuff and decide to come to school in January. Now you see a lot of that. So that way you can participate in spring ball, be ahead of some of the other freshmen and fight for a spot to play this year, whether it's a starter or a rotational player. But as far as reclassifications after spring ball, you don't see a lot of that. That just don't happen very often. TJ decided to do that because he understands this is going to be special. TJ decided to do that because he knows who his head coach is. He's looking at his resume. He's looking at our schedule. He's looking at his opportunity. He's looking at the depth chart and like, yo, this is all setting up perfectly for me and for Stanquan to come in. You know what I'm saying? And Debo folks, KJ Cloyd, no offense. It's no disrespect to him, but he transferred after running with the ones in spring. And somebody came and Debo'd his chain. His grandmama made a game that chain. I don't know, but he decided to leave. And it's not like he went somewhere garbage. He had options. He went to Miami. It's a nice program. It's the same program they told us was going to take TJ from us. So instead of getting TJ, they got KJ. Hey, I like that trade. Y'all can have KJ, you know what I'm saying? Good player, really good player. Was running with the ones. I want to keep emphasizing that because that is important. Was running with the ones here. Y'all can have KJ. We'll take TJ, and we'll see what happens. Man, oh my God. That was awesome. That was awesome to see that. And I like my coach's petty. So shout out to Coach Hova for doing that. Putting those tweets out there on the streets for me to see and to continue to make things happen. So, man, oh, man. We only got 30 minutes, so I only have a few more minutes left. I just spent 25 minutes talking about TJcapers because that's how big of a deal it is. I can't act like it isn't. That's how big of a deal it is. I do want to, because today the women's basketball team played. Coach Walls, ladies, hit the court today, made things happen. They were able to beat Puerto Rico over in the Global Jam in Canada. It is Sydney Taylor is a bucket. Let me say that one more time. Yo, this team, I know we were all concerned. When you have to replace 9 players, that is very concerning. I was, I ain't had no reason to ever doubt Coach Walls because he's been a dog. I mean, 6 straight Elite Eights. You can't just sneeze at that. Like, it ain't nothing. But I wasn't overly concerned because he does this. This is what he does. He puts together great teams. They make things happen. Even in what we would call a down season, they still made the Elite Eight. And they were just Caitlin Clark away from making the Final Four. Caitlin Clark, a generational talent. It is what it is. And then you lose a bunch of players, including Haley, and a lot of people show concern, and rightfully so. You should be concerned. This is your program. These are your team. These are the people that you love. You should be concerned. But Coach Walls never batted an eye and just got to work, got busy in that portal. He said, to hell with high school players this year. I don't know if that'll be a strategy every year because we need Zakiya. Let's not play. In 2025, Zakiya Johnson is at Sacred Heart Academy. We need to get that done. Nonetheless, this year, he said to hell with high school players because there isn't a Zakiya in the 23 class. No offense to the 23 class. Nowhere. There isn't a Zakiya Johnson in this class. And so he said, I'm going to just build my roster through the transfer portal. Graduate transfers, multiple years left. Don't matter. Come one, come all. I'm filling 9 spots with all transfers. Well, he brought one from via high school, a big 6'5" post. But outside of that, all the other spots were taken by transfers. Kiki Jefferson, Sydney Taylor, et cetera, et cetera. Now, some of them came from smaller schools and smaller conferences, smaller programs and smaller conferences. Some of them came from USC or Florida or whatever, bigger conferences, bigger schools. And we seen them play for the first time together. And Sydney Taylor lit it up. She was getting buckets. Now, I want to show highlights, but they might mess us up. So I'm not gonna forget it. I'm gonna show a few highlights because I liked the way they were hooping. Here's a few first half highlights of the cards via the Global Jam. Hold on. Let me go ahead and share my screen and then we'll get out of here. Thank you guys. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, by the way. Hit that like button, share this broadcast as we'll come each and every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. You can catch us Saturday mornings on 93.9, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. But here are some first half highlights. Shout out to Jacob Griever via WDRB for snagging. This is how the ladies were getting busy.
She is someone who is not intimidated by any of these American NCAA players.
Hold on.
Plays at Grand Canyon University in Arizona. So a nice 3 that time by Sydney Taylor.
Sydney Taylor was lighting it up from 3. Here she goes once again. Sydney Taylor is number 1. Coming off the screen, step back threes, bang, just lighting it up. She finished the game with 22 points. The lady cards, the women had 27 assists on 30 buckets, had 30 baskets, 27 of them were assisted. I mean, just clip. Show me the clip. No safety. Ready to fire. Aiming. This team is going to be fun to watch. The motion offense is still there. The jump shots are there. The 3 ball is falling. These ladies are going to be fun. If they can light it up from the outside like that. What was the biggest detriment to our team last year? Our team last year couldn't shoot. They couldn't shoot. They could not shoot. And what Coach Walls decided to do this offseason was like, to hell with that not shooting. 3 ball is a part of the game. Unless you just have a post that is like Angel Reese. I mean, Angel Reese plays in the post. You don't shoot no threes. Unless you have an Aaliyah Boston, an Angel Reese, a Breonna Stewart, an Asia Wilson, one of them specialty, like just all world players that just play in the post and get buckets. We need to be able to shoot. Caitlin Clark got to the national championship game because she had the clip. She had the best clip in college sports, period. College basketball, men or women. She's the best shooter. They got them to the national championship game. Iowa don't be in a national championship game. They beat South Carolina with a specialty player like Aaliyah Boston. They beat them to get to the national championship game because Caitlin Clark could shoot. And the rest of those girls, those ladies, those women on Iowa could shoot. And so what Coach Wall say? I'll go out and give me some shooters. This is a 3-point game, and I'm going to play beyond the perimeter. Forget all of that, not being able to shoot anymore, not being able to get buckets, not being able to score on people, which at times we struggled to do last year, put the ball in the basket. His philosophy, his teams are always some of the best defensive teams in the country. So There's no doubt in my mind that they're still going to be able to have their same defensive principles and make things happen there. But what he struggled with the last couple of years is being able to hit the outside shot consistently. Consistently. That's the word. He went out and got a shooter with a sniper in Sidney Taylor, at least in that first game. So that was fun to see. And this is going to be a fun team. I think this is made of veteran players, older players that are ready to win at this level. It's a different level for some of them. Some of them haven't played at this level. Some of them have been very, very successful individually. They haven't had a lot. All of them haven't had a ton of team success. They've had a bunch of individual success. 15, 16, 17 point per game players, leading scorers, leading rebounders, etc., but I haven't had a ton of team success at this level. Now you get an opportunity to still do what you do, get buckets, let that thing fly, pause, and have great team success by one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, men or women, in front of the best fan base in women's college basketball. And I stand on that. The best fan base. Let me break this down so you don't forget. Louisville women's basketball. Last year, I think, was like 6th in the entire ACC, either 4th or 6th. It was an even number in the entire ACC in attendance, men or women. They were 6 total. It's only 5 men's teams that had more attendance, average attendance, than Louisville women's basketball had last year. And it was a down year. And we were still 6th in the entire ACC, men or women. So, yeah, we're the best fan base in the country and play at the best facilities in the country. Can't wait to see what this team looks like. That's all I have for you today. Once again, this is the 35KY Sports live stream each and every single Saturday, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. each and every single Wednesday, rather. I'm sorry about that. And then don't forget, 35KY Sports Saturday show on 93.9 The Ville. You can catch me, JB, Murph, holding it down. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out each and every single Wednesday and Saturday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, 10 a.m. on Saturday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow 35KY Sports on all social media platforms. And we will see